Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowered Conversations, where I have so many amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out in the world doing such beautiful things in service to others. And today I am so excited to have my guest, Craig Hoy. Craig Hoy lives in Queensland, Australia. And he could best be described as a uniquely multi-skilled catalyst, currently living in the beautiful tropical Far North Queensland in Australia. He was originally a visual fine art. No, he was originally visually fine art trained, having exhibited in galleries across Australia. Craig has brought these skills together with studies in applied science, diversional therapy, while also teaching in high schools for 22 years and counting. Even more significantly, Craig has followed a powerful calling and gained certification in quantum healing and its numerous tools: Western Usi Reiki, hope I said that correctly, Palawa, NLP, and considerable skills in intuitive guiding, empathic and energy healing, skill mentoring, personal branding, and social media marketing. For Craig, all this flows and merges, resulting in powerful shifts for those called to work with him. Whether they be a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, speaker, laying on the grass in the dark on an exclusive golf course, people just beginning their spiritual and energy journey, or facilitated groups, Craig's work is truly catalytic. And let me tell you, I have been part of numerous of his work, his activations, and his ceremonies, and I've worked one-on-one with him a few times as well. Everybody, I am so excited. Everybody, drum roll, please. Help me in welcoming Craig Hoy. What's up, Craig? Thank you. Thank you. So it is, y'all, it is 6 a.m. over in Australia. And so it's 4. And you know what's crazy is that I usually do this at 1 p.m. live every Wednesday. And literally, I completely forgot, or I just had a mind fart. And I was on here at 12:30 going, getting stuff ready, getting everything ready. And I'm like, oh, it's not till 4. Oh my gosh. So yeah, thank you so much for being on. It's such an honor to have you here, Craig. You truly are
You're
one of those people that is
most
doing
welcome.
so much beautiful out in the world. And I really like to get deep and dig deep into the heart and soul of the person that I'm speaking with. So my first question is like throughout your entire life and into adulthood, like what unique experiences, what were the epiphanies? How was life before you had the epiphany that sent you on the journey of like what you're doing of love for others out here in the world?
Hey, Stephanie. It's beautiful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
It's it's a great question. I guess the funny thing was that I became an art teacher or a teacher out of, what I felt was necessity to provide for family, to provide for kids.
Hmm.
And and yeah, before you know it, then it's, 20 plus years later and life is just moseying on and I knew that if things didn't change, if I wasn't open to more possibilities, then I could probably be doing it for another 20 years.
Hmm.
And and while, it's a noble profession, somebody has
Oh,
to do it.
absolutely.
Somebody has to attempt to educate or, be that person. I just wasn't sure it was me. So still dabble, still teach here and there.
Hmm.
However, yeah, I just knew that there had to be more. Full
Right. Well, it's
stop.
definitely part of your journey and
Mm.
supposed to have been something that you've done. Um,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
it's given me lots of skills and I suppose over the years, if you I've worked in some quite large schools and
Hmm.
um, over 20 plus years, you're talking about thousands and thousands of kids that I've had contact with at least. So it's a very big
Right.
teacher of human nature as well.
Mhm.
A very big teacher of human nature to see that many different kids, that many different students, that many different even other teachers and fellow staff members, and so it's a very big a teacher. It is a teacher itself. It's a
Yeah,
teacher itself to see just what is possible, to see where stereotypes just don't even fit, and to see where stereotypes are bang on for some people. It's very interesting how often stereotypes fit so few people if you really get into it.
exactly, exactly. Our
Mm,
minds create what our eyes see, and we
mm,
all have this frame of reference in this life, and
mm,
it's when you're open to new experience and open to different experience that you yourself grow,
exactly,
you know?
exactly. And as a part of a teacher's role, sometimes it's monitoring behaviour. So it's quite common for me, and I'm pretty sure that that's the case for lots of other people, where I would be scanning for people doing the wrong thing. And of course, when you're scanning,
Exactly.
whatever you look for is whatever you see.
Mhm.
If we're looking for a reason to distrust people, then we'll find it.
Exactly.
And so once I had that epiphany, I I actually started scanning classrooms, saying, you know what, who can I see doing the right thing? Which kids can I see being perfect? Which kids can I see just being quiet and just being themselves and not really getting anything that they actually need, and just going under the radar so that they avoid getting hurt, or they avoid
Right.
sticking out, or they avoid whatever it else it is. But it's amazing when you know, um, Wayne Dwyer used to say, well, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes.
And it's really profound. If we look at kids as just beautiful beings and they're just trying to do their thing, even the naughty kids, even the kids not doing the right thing, they change.
Mhm.
And we start to see their behavior as, well, it's a need. Through that behavior, they're attempting to access a need. What is
Right.
it that I need? There's something that they don't have in their life if they're not acting out like that. And it becomes it's a game changer. What is it that they need? Why is it that they want attention? Or is it that they need to avoid doing schoolwork, or having to read, or showing up what they can't do, or showing up areas that they're actually really, really bored in, that it's just not inspiring for them? Yeah,
Right.
fascinating.
Are you familiar with the gentleman who did a TED Talk? And during his TED Talk, he talks about there's a story of a little girl whose parents back in the 30s took her to a psychiatrist because they were told that she had behavioral problems. And she's sitting with the therapist and the parents, and the therapist is like, walk outside with me for a few minutes, and just tells the little girl to sit there. They walk outside, shut the door, and there's a window through the door, and he says, look, watch. And the little girl stands up and she starts dancing. And he said, there's nothing wrong with her. She doesn't have behavioral problems. She's a dancer. Had they squashed her creativity,
Mm.
she winds up growing into the woman who founded the Juilliard School of Dance.
Oh, that beautiful story.
Do you feel that in your profession, do you see how children's creativity is squashed and it's more scholastic or sports?
I
And
see from the recent work that I do now, the work that I help people with, the play, I see that in lots of more profound ways these days, where I'm what inspires me, what I love working with, is helping people with their natural gifts.
yes.
And from that perspective, I'm talking about, sure, dancing is a gift. I'm mostly talking about more metaphysical gifts,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the way in which, and it's all the same, but the way in which, from 0 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that imprint phase that we talk
Yep.
about in NLP,
Mhm.
especially the imprint phase, often people, beings, humans will have this understanding that this is their gift, or this is their joy, or this is their passion. Sometimes it's not seen as a joy or a passion, though, it's just seen as an ability.
Mhm.
And somewhere along the line, they are forced to, or they make a decision to not allow that gift to be in present to save love, or to attempt to obtain love
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
acceptance, or
Mhm.
to not stand out. Or
Mhm.
if I go to school and I'm talking to my unicorn spirit animal,
Mhm.
everyone's going to think I'm crazy.
Right.
And so then it becomes really fascinating then when people come to work with me when they're, 30, 40, 50, 60. I just wish I could talk to my guides. I wish I could do this. I wish I could. Well, and it doesn't take very long at all before they remember. Oh, I forgot.
Mhm.
It's fascinating how we can put so much effort into suppressing our own traumas that we literally can forget that they were there, even though we remember. We might even
Mhm.
talk about them all the time, but what we forget sometimes is just how traumatic it was, or we don't see the ripple effect of that. So, yeah, like when we innately choose, and the choice can even be on a subconscious level, we just choose it.
Right.
We might be having fun doing our thing, doing whatever that is. And if dad says, come on, when are you going to behave? Come on, start to focus. Take this seriously. All I was doing was connecting with source. All I was doing was connecting with my guides. All I was doing was just feeling into my intuitions. All I was doing was just flowing with the elements that I feel all around me.
Mhm.
And dad yelled at me. And in that moment, I lost his love.
Mhm.
So, wait, if I keep doing this stuff and connecting, dad's just going to get angrier and angrier. So, maybe, okay, cool. See ya. Just
So
got to
you
go.
so
They
you you
suppress
s-
it.
you suppress, but that those memories, everything is still always stored in the subconscious mind, and that's one of the things that in being a part of what I have with what you do online, it's like you're just relaxing and you're just allowing the connection of what you've already been connected to, you've always been connected to.
Mm,
And it's like I don't have the words to describe how you're able to access the subconscious mind. And then what then proceeds, to happen and to transform. Because I remember, I think I came across you about a year ago. You had this quantum empowerment group, and I was the 444th person to join. And I remember like, oh my God. And, I'm all into numbers and number sequences. And right today we're in the 555. Well, you might not be, but we are still are over here. It's Cinco de Mayo, 5th of May. And I just remember, and then we connected. And then I worked with you this one time, and through other things that I was also doing, and that was a culmination of things that I've been doing for years. Things just opened up for me
mm,
towards the middle and last year, and just really have started to flow.
mm,
Doesn't mean that there's, that I don't run into an obstacle here and there, but it's amazing. And I just pay attention instead of trying to force and trust. I really have learned to trust that
mm.
everything is happening in the right timing.
And the power of that, Stephanie, is that what you're talking about is you're working from choice and from inspiration.
Exactly.
And it's amazing if we look at the origins of words. I love words, and I'm a big proponent of the way in which our words literally shape our universe, the words that we use.
Yes.
But the word inspiration is in spirit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where the word comes from. So when we're actually following inspiration, well, what's the meaning of life? Well, the meaning of life is to follow inspiration, to
Mhm,
be in spirit.
mhm.
And when we are in
Inspired.
spirit, it's a pro choice. It's like when I used to be into fishing years and years and years ago, I could be up until 1 o'clock in the morning getting all my fishing gear ready for a big boat trip. And then I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go on the boat trip. I had like 3 hours sleep, and I'd
Mhm.
be, boom, ding,
Yes.
I'm just awake, off I go because I'm in spirit, I'm
Yes.
inspired.
Mhm.
And yet to get up to go to a job you don't like, it might be like, oh yeah, I'm going to press snooze for the 4th time.
Exactly.
And it's the difference. And the difference is when it's not a free choice, when it's not free will, it's a push force.
Mm-hmm.
We're being pushed into it. You have to go. It's like, oh, I have to
Right.
go. As
Right.
opposed to, woohoo, I want to go.
Right.
And it's a huge difference. I love the way you were talking about it as though you were aware that there might be resistances sometimes. And sometimes those resistances are things like you were talking about how you didn't have words to describe how I'm able to guide people. And at the same time, I don't necessarily either.
Exactly.
And so the fascinating thing is that what I've learned over time is that I've just learned to stop stopping myself. So when that inspiration's coming through, I just allow it to come through. And what that can look like is sometimes I might be working with a client, and if I was to get into my head about it, oh no, I shouldn't tell them that, or sometimes topics become sensitive. I don't necessarily have a framework at all about where things do or don't go for some people. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes areas of concern for people are like sexual, for example. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
female client, then it's like, oh, I'm male. Should I really be talking about this? So there's some resistance there. But what I've learn't is I'll just acknowledge those things and say, oh, there's something that I'd like to talk to you about, and
Mm-hmm.
it's coming through. And if you don't feel comfortable talking about that with me, that's fine.
Right.
However, there is something coming through for you in this area. And
I
lots
wanted
of,
to go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say something to that. Can you see the comments?
I can't know.
Okay, well,
Oh, I might be able to.
Siobhan
Oh,
Coach,
yes.
she's my co-host for Food Therapy. She says, working from inspired action, ideas that come to me in meditation or in flow.
Hmm,
And she was on my Empowered Conversations podcast. I'm pretty sure it was this year. And when I worked with you last year, one of the things that came through for you in talking to me, and I already knew this, and it was part of it was sexually related, and I
hmm,
was fine because I knew that it was all through love and necessary topic to discuss. And her and I did an episode, and it was talking about sexual trauma
hmm,
and the repression of sex and what that actually does, and in creating things that we don't want in the world, like toxic sexuality,
hmm,
toxic
hmm,
masculinity, rape culture. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly say, and a part of that was I, I was just, there was so much that was there that was ready to just explode and
hmm,
within me that I have felt for a long time, but I couldn't figure out like what are the blocks? Because I'm
hmm,
like I put I'm crazy. I'm wide ass open. I'm very I run towards life with open arms, but there was still something that was inhibiting me from showing up fully, like
hmm,
100% with every ounce of everything that is me.
yeah.
And working with you and doing some other things, it was just stuff just and again, things have come to fruition and come to
Hmm.
life.
One of the things that I've developed myself is this questioning technique. And again, it's just another one of those inspirations that comes through. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to do with a client until we actually start to interact for a little
Oh
minute,
yeah, that makes
and
sense.
then it'll just come through. And what's happened is this questioning technique has come through, and it's really fascinating. It's literally just a questioning technique that shows that we can actually have sometimes half a dozen different answers to exactly the same yes or no question from different parts of our being,
Mm-hmm.
even within our mind. And the
Mm-hmm.
general principle is that, okay, so we might ask a question that's yes or no, and then it's just a simple direction. Which part of your body answered that question?
Oof.
And some people are so intuitive, they go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, wow, my right hand answered that question. And it's fascinating that people are so intuitive.
Mhm.
So we could imply that, okay, right hand, so that's masculine.
Mhm.
So it's your masculine hand, your masculine side that's answering. But normally I get people to frame it back towards, say, head, heart, and
Uh-huh.
soul,
Uh-huh.
soul or gut,
Right.
gut. And there's a really interesting trick around and exploring the gut area. And then the simple framework is just that, well, did it come from the outside? Like the outside, so that the thoughts that everyone sees, the bits that you want people
Mhm.
to know that you're thinking, that you agree with certain things or disagree with things just to fit in, the polite, warm,
Exactly.
fuzzy stuff?
Right.
Or did it come from the inside of your mind? And if it came from the inside of your mind, and it's all beautiful because it all
Yeah.
shows. For some people, oh, it's the outside of my mind.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Well, so let's reframe the question. And this time I'm going to ask the inside of your mind. And they go, oh, they feel the different. Oh, that's a different place. And then once we go inside, then I usually discuss two different things. Well, was it your mind of minds? Was it your lightest light? Was it that highest intuition? Was it that beautiful higher version of yourself? Or was it that deeper, darker part of you that
Mhm.
thinks things that you don't want anyone to know that you think? The fears, the traumas, the worries, the concerns that you hide away in the
Mhm.
darkness. And it's fascinating. You can have three different answers from different parts of your
Right.
mind. And the reason why this is such a powerful conversation and technique is because it shows people why and how they are out of alignment. And by alignment, what I'm talking about is aligned with spirit,
Mhm.
aligned with source, aligned with the universe, aligned with God, aligned with the angels, aligned with numbers, aligned with unicorns, farting fairy dust, whatever you
Yeah,
believe,
exactly, whatever you believe, what
whatever
yeah.
you believe,
Mhm.
whatever you hold as your highest, your inspiration, where we are out of alignment with that, where we are indecisive, where we've set up these dualities, because
Mhm.
the dualities are just pulling our energy. It's kind of like, well, we know the fastest route to get to a place. Well, I
Mhm.
think I'll take a route that takes me, 10 miles out of my way.
Yeah, exactly, it's like,
And
"No."
then we
Right.
wonder why we're always running short of time, or we're
Mhm.
using too much gas in the car, or um, yeah. So we can have all of these out of alignment areas in all sorts of
Mhm.
aspects of our
Mhm.
body. We could be an amazingly intuitive person. We could be amazingly heart centered.
Mhm.
But yet, if we are still wounded in a way
Mhm.
that actually uh, detracts or takes energy away, then we can be out of alignment. We might not be actually performing at our best.
Exactly. And the point is, like, you and I, and the people that are watching, we have another comment. It's some from a Facebook user. Loving this. Thank you, Craig, for the ahas. Such important topics to discuss. Great combo. Like we are like-minded, and I understand the language, but others may not understand like this type
Mm,
of language. And it's about just like say you're new to this realm of even thinking. How would you instruct somebody to just ask yourself the base, just to start asking your questions, not even about which part of the brain, but just at
yeah,
least start asking those questions, because then that,
there's
the more you do, the more you can do.
100%. And there's a few really simple techniques, really, really simple. And it's amazing the answers that we get. One of them is just to ask things
Hmm.
of something bigger than ourselves. That's the way I word it. So if we think about it, well, what do I know? Because in Western society, and this is some of the concern, especially from childhood, we are trained, we are taught, we're programmed that if we don't know the answer to something, if we can't think our way out of a problem,
Hmm.
there's something wrong with me. And yet it's only a tiny fraction of our capacity.
Right.
So what I talk about is, okay, so imagine my mind has a capacity.
Hmm.
There's a certain amount of stuff that it knows. Wouldn't it be fascinating if I could actually invite in knowing from other places that are bigger than me? So one of the tricks is literally, and you see a lot of people do it when they don't know what to do, they'll look up.
Yeah.
It's just looking up.
Mm-hmm.
The heavens, God, angels, galactic beings, whatever it is
Fairy
you feel
dust, Lord
called,
fairy dust. Yeah.
the universe, boom, all of a sudden our
Yeah.
mind opens up and we can actually access all sorts of things. So sometimes, and there's even frameworks where we can, it's an NLP technique where if
Mm-hmm.
somebody says, I don't know, you ask them a question, you say, I don't know. A really good reframe can be, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would you say? Another really cool one, a
Mm-hmm.
really cool one that I use quite often is that I know you don't know, but imagine your best friend has just walked in the room and they know all your secrets and they've just come up to you and they've just whispered in your ear what the answer is. What did they whisper? Yeah. Well, they said this. And what it does is it literally bypasses our own blocks. It bypasses our own inability to actually express things. Oh, well, my best friend has said this. It's not me. My best friend's allowed to say it, but I'm not.
But it gives you that access.
Yeah, it
And the
does.
access is already there. It's just reframing the question.
Until we find a permission.
Yes.
And it's all
Oh,
about permission. It's
permission.
just all
Love
about a
that.
permission. Do we have permission to think this? Do we have permission to say this? Do I have permission to feel this? Do I have
Mm-hmm.
permission to express this? They're all different levels of permission. And so you were talking earlier around how, doing some of the work with me, everything just started to open up. So I call some of the processes that I do with people a gateway activation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it might not open the door, but it puts the key in the lock. And then people then have the permission, self permission to turn the lock
Yes.
and unlock it.
Yes.
Or it might open the door and just like it's just ajar a little bit. And if people want to actually push it wide open and really walk in there, then they can. And that's when things like, like it's catalytic because
Right.
what we've done is we've literally accessed the part of them that was not granting them permission to do things or be things or say things or feel things.
Understand things.
And once they have that permission, then everything can come through. But so that's one of the questioning techniques is just to ask things of things higher than ourselves. Another one is to literally like try to bypass ourselves. And I don't normally talk about bypassing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
normally healthy. This is a different type of bypass. It allows ourself to be the observer of ourself. It's the opposite of bypassing. It's actually, I'm not going to stop just because I can't see it or I don't know it. I'm going to actually attempt to access this in a different way.
That
That's
is
when a
so
detour
powerful.
can be useful because we can come back to the place that we wanted to get to in the first place. Another really cool one that you'll probably like this one. It's kind of like, oh, should I date this person or not? And we listen for an answer. And regardless of what the answer is,
Mm-hmm.
here's the answer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that answer. I'm just going to ask that question of something higher and imagine it going higher. Should I date this person? Yes or no? Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that. I'm just going to ask this question higher. Should I date this person? Maybe. Ooh, okay. The answer's changing. Should I date this person? Just asking something higher. No. Oh, there it is. Because what's fascinating is that when we come to make decisions, I encourage people, and it's really beautiful sense to drop into our heart. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's something like 5 times the communication neurons going from our heart to our head than from our head to our heart.
Oh, I believe it.
So, but
Yeah.
we're not trained to do that. We're trained to stay in our heart, in our
Right.
head.
We're trying in our heads.
So when we drop a question to our heart, well, what does your heart tell you? It's in our culture, it's in our
Right. What did your
language.
heart say? Yeah.
Yeah. What does your heart tell you? Which is beautiful. But the bit that they leave out, the bit that most people don't realize, is that the part of the heart that's answering the question is the wounded heart. It's the
Does that
heart
make
that has
sense?
all the filters. Oh, I don't know. Should I go out with that person? I don't know. The last time I dated someone like that, they cheated on me. Or, you know what? The last time I went out with someone like that, they just wanted sex. Or the last time I went out with someone like that, they were like just batshit crazy. I just want to protect myself from that stuff. So I'm going to say no. I'm not
Right.
going to give this new person a chance. I'm just going to protect myself. And it doesn't mean don't ask your heart. What
Mhm.
it means is just realize that it's the heart is trying to keep you safe. And
So,
then we
okay,
can choose. Then we
just
can choose.
so what
Thank
you're
you,
saying is
heart.
keep asking higher, like,
Higher, yeah, or to just
or
inquire deeper, or to
mhm,
re-ask,
keep
or to
asking.
realize
So Siobhan is asking, so where does the intuition come in?
it's a great question. When is it allowed to come in?
When is it allowed to come in? He says, Siobhan.
Yeah, so that's the point.
Like to what
When
you were
is it
saying
allowed?
earlier,
Yeah, it's the
keep
same as anything.
asking.
Should I date someone? We're already tapping into it.
Mhm,
By the re-asking, what we're doing is we're actually starting to bypass our program that says, I need to think this stuff and I need to think it, and this is the answer that I need to come up with. This is the socially acceptable answer. This is the answer that keeps me safe. This is the answer that protects me from my wounds. This is the answer that keeps me as safe as possible. This is
mhm,
my programmed familiar. It's got nothing to do with comfort. It's one
mhm.
of my big teachings is our comfort zones aren't comfortable most of the time. I call them familiar zones. There are
Thank you.
familiar zones. It's
Yes,
where we retreat to because we know them. It's why people can be in horrible abusive situations and
I was about to
stay
say
there
that.
because
Yes,
it's familiar.
yes, yes.
And sometimes we retreat to them without even realizing that it's our default. Yeah, that's it, Siobhan. It's just the more you ask, the more you start tapping in and you start
Mhm.
actually superseding our programming, and it's a really fascinating technique. Sometimes you can say it a few times to someone. Yeah, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would you say?
And I love that, and, so if I know you don't know, but what would your mom say? Or I know you don't know, but what would your coworker say? I know you don't know, but what would your
Yeah.
best friend say? What would
And
I know
one
you
of
don't know, but what would Craig say? That
the
ask me, and Siobhan, I'll ask you that. We'll start asking each other that. What would Craig say?
and just realize that whoever we invite in to answer the question might actually have a different flavor.
Exact from their
And and
experiences.
this is where it can be really fascinating, this questioning
Mhm,
technique, because we could just as easily say, well, I've done this where we've said, all right, so your worst enemy has just walked in the room. You're completely safe, but your worst enemy has just come in the room and they're whispering, they're coming up to you and they're whispering in your ear all the things that you hate hearing about yourself. And then here comes the blocks. Boom, boom, boom,
mhm,
boom, boom, boom,
mhm,
boom, 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 boom. There they are, listed, all laid out. What's the problem? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, cool. So your worst enemy has just walked in the room and they've come up to you and they've got that smirky, snide look on their face, and they've come up to you and they're whispering. You know what your fucking problem is? You know what your problems are? Your problems are this and this and this and this and this and this and
mhm,
this.
mhm.
Because we're bypassing our own blocks. We're bypassing our own lack of permission and we're accessing it through another. We're allowing something else to be the observer. There's ways that you do it with yourself as well.
Mhm.
It's much easier if it's guided because someone like me knows this stuff, so we can actually hold space for this and we can observe the reactions because we could be so clever. I ran I ran a little group the other day and used this questioning technique on a group of people, and it's fascinating to see different people's reactions. One person, for example, was really gifted in intuition, really gifted in accessing source, very powerful.
Mhm.
But I was asking the question of their heart, and they said, "Yeah, my head's answering." And see what's happening there is we know where our gifts are, and we're using that to distract ourselves from the real problem.
Okay. So what about, excuse me, whenever you want something
Hmm. Hmm.
like that, well, in your heart, is good and it'll be good for yourself and good for others.
Hmm.
Um, where are we asking? Like, should I do this? Should I move forward with this? How can I get here? What are the steps I need to take?
What I talk about is that it's great to ask questions that are yes or no answers.
Okay.
Okay, it can be really powerful to do it. And one of the phrases is that if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no.
Thank you. Yes.
And this is the way I frame that understanding. You imagine you're in a, I'll reframe it a little bit because some of it you might not know, not being Australian, but let's just say you're driving in the country and there's a big fence, and then all of a sudden there's a gate coming up, a nice big wide gate. You're on a dirt road, and somebody's actually hammered like a steel post into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Just an inch or two across. Now the thing is that this gate's really wide, but it would take a pretty brave person to try and literally drive straight through it. So even though the gate's wide open, there's nothing stopping you but this one little steel post.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would stop. At the very least, you might have to slow down to try to go around it. There you go. It's impacting. It's stopping the yes. Driving through, the ability to drive through is the yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for some people, the post, if we say, am I allowed to do this? Oh, maybe. That's not a fuck yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they say, oh, yeah, the pause. Or if they actually go to answer and they If it's a fuck yes, it's a fuck yes. It's, yeah, sure, of
Fuck
course.
yes.
100%. Yeah, I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am. For some people, the little bit no, because it could be like 99% yes, 1% no.
Mm-hmm.
That 1%, if you look at the percentage of the width of the gate that little steel post takes up, it's a tiny percentage. If that's hammered right in the middle, then it might stop everything. It's like, oh, what the hell's that? I'm going to stop. I have to work out what this 1% no is. I can't actually do anything else until I work out what that is. We get out of the car, oh, can I move this no? Can I move it? Oh, no, it's stuck there. What am I going to... Oh, I have to take a different road. But for some
Or
people,
I'm just gonna barrel through it.
you might, and make a big mess or destroy your car or crash or you could do, or maybe nothing. Maybe it just
Yeah, I
disappears.
just keep going. Yeah.
Maybe it's just an illusion. Or maybe
The
the
crash
post,
is metaphor for something that was
exactly,
necessary in order to get you to that where you wanted to be.
exactly. But maybe that steel post might be right over near the big fence post and it won't stop you at all. You're just like, oh, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
saw that. Yeah, see
Yep.
ya, bye. On the way
Thank you.
through.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So where that post is, where the little bit of no is, can be significant.
Mm-hmm.
Might be right in the way. But that's it's an interesting proposition that if it's not a fuck yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's a no. And it's a no in as far as it just stops that forward momentum. It can prevent us just going leaping straight in. It can prevent us from doing all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be there for all sorts of reasons. Usually to keep us safe, or usually because there's lack of permission.
Lack of
That's
permission,
mm,
because then the safety is relative as well. What's safe for
100%.
you is not necessarily safe for me, and vice
Exactly.
versa.
Exactly.
Um, I wanted to speak to the other day. Leona Exoda says, "Love it." Siobhan says, "Yes, I've
Mm.
heard that. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a no." The other day, I think it was the full moon last week. You did one of your activations, and what did you call it again? You called it something specific.
Oh, I'm not sure. I do so many.
Well, you
And
said it
sometimes
earlier. It was like a something activation. Anyway, they're absolutely astoundingly
it was a release.
fucking
That was
beautiful.
that's
Release.
what
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
was. It was a
Oh, yeah,
release.
that's right.
Yeah.
Releasing which no longer is serving you, going
Mm,
into your body and telling a certain area of your body that you want you're asking for healing, you're asking for release of what is no longer serving you. While
mm,
I was over in my sacred space where I spend every morning having my bone broth and writing my goals and doing, drinking my mud water, which is chaga, mushrooms, cacao. Anyway, and there I have a shamrock plant over there right next to the window. And, it's a house plant, you only water once every like 10 days or so, and only a little bit of water because you don't want mold to grow. Well, anyway, I'm doing this activation, and there's a lot of breath work in and out, and your eyes are closed. And this goes on for 20 or 30 minutes. And then when you're saying, okay, everyone, open your eyes, I look at the plant, and the plant had like collapsed in a way, not like it was dead, but like it was tired, like it was resting. And what the energy work, because plants, everything is living, everything is just a different conglomeration of atoms from the periodic table. Everything is one, we're all a part, and we have such an effect and are affected. Anyway, the plant just was like this, and I remember, like, wow, I intuitively saw that the plant was resting. That's how I took it. And a few hours later, it was still resting. And I went over and I cut, hey, plant, and, being my silly self, hey, plant. And it gave it just because I'd watered it like 3 or 4 days before, so it didn't need water. But I, just kind of talked to it and gave it some love, and then put a couple sips of water. And just within an hour or so, it was back blossomed. But just in what you did during that, or what we were doing, whatever I was releasing, the plant could feel that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It was
And
beautiful.
it might sound woo-woo, it might sound new to people, it might
Right.
sound whatever. It doesn't mean it's not happening, and it doesn't mean it's not real. I don't
Exactly.
need to believe in gravity
Mm-hmm.
to walk around with my feet on the ground all the time. I don't need to believe in the power of the moon to be able to observe the tides coming and going.
Exactly.
I don't need to be able to have to believe this stuff for it to be true. It's just true anyway. And at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, we'll see what we see.
Yeah.
We'll look for what we look for.
Mm-hmm.
We're also really suggestive creatures. We're really open to suggestion. You've only got to look at what's happening on the planet to see how suggestive we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can give you an example if you want to play a game.
Absolutely.
Okay, ready? This is a really simple game. Here's the game. Don't see red, don't see red, don't see red, don't see red. But if you tune in, what's this thing that you saw?
Red everywhere. Like
And I told you
everywhere.
not to. I told you not to. So
Mm-hmm.
because I was suggesting the word red, I'm just saying the word red,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all that your mind was hearing, and so that's what we observe. But now if I say, see all the infinite, rich, varied colours of the rainbow, see all the infinite, rich, varied colours of the rainbow, see all the infinite, rich, coloured varies of...
Oh yeah. Like,
So all of a sudden, everything just got richer. We just noticed all the tonal variations. We noticed, like, even my shirt, there's a dozen different colors across it at least, probably
mm-hmm.
hundreds really, if you look at the infinite variations.
Mm-hmm. My wall, your
And
picture, my picture.
we observed all of those when I said don't see red, but we ignored them.
Exactly. Thank you.
We
And
ignored them because it
yeah.
wasn't important. It wasn't what was registering. So look for something that you fear, look for something that you fear, look for something that you fear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all sorts of crazy things. So, for example, have you ever been attacked by a shark?
No.
And yet, if you were to go to the beach, it might be in your mind a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet, there's a statistic in the world that lots of people know that more people die every year from coconuts falling on them than from shark attacks.
No, I did not know that. Wow.
We don't declare war against coconuts,
Right.
but yet we have to, some places they declare war on sharks. I think there's a statistic in the US as well about the number of people who actually fall off chairs every year and die is way higher than the number of people who are killed by terrorists.
Wow.
Do we declare
Yeah.
war on chairs?
No. I
So
mean, and
we're
it's the
able to...
same.
Mm,
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, until you own a white car, or say a Nissan Altima. I don't know if y'all have Nissan Altimas over there, but I never noticed Nissan Altimas until I bought one, and then I saw them absolutely everywhere.
exactly.
The
It
mind
entered your field.
controls the mind
Yeah.
controls what the eyes see, and this is what I talk about over and over and over and over and over and over and over with people on my podcast, is the ability and the opening up the awareness. You don't
Mm,
know what you don't know until you are made aware that
Mm.
you that it exists. It's just like a fish does not understand the water in which it swims until it's made aware that it's indeed swimming in water.
Yeah, until the water's taken away, maybe.
Yeah,
All sorts of things like
right.
that. Yeah. And so there's just lots of different ways that we can access this stuff, the ways that we can suggest things. It's been used in the past for lots of negative ways, where entire
Mhm,
populations have been convinced to do something that they know is
mhm.
not in their higher self. And it's, ooh, I wonder if it might be happening in some places now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's definitely something that I utilize from that higher space, from that heart space, from that, does this need to be done now? And if this is being done now, is it benefiting these people? Am I just doing this because I can? Am I just doing this because I'm showing off and using my ego and I'm just inflating that? Or am I actually helping people?
Right, right.
Am I actually helping people? Or have I convinced myself that by me talking them into buying my stuff, that that's helping them? There's a fine line,
Mhm.
very fine. And sometimes it's not very fine at all. Sometimes it's really bloody obvious and people just overstep it. Oh, if you do this and this and this, and you say this and this and this, and you suggest this and this and this, then people that don't even need your stuff will buy it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're not operating from your highest self if you're just looking at the money instead of why did you create what you created, or why did you
Mm,
create the offer that you want
yeah.
someone to have because
Yeah.
of the benefit that you see them having. And if that's not how you're coming, across with
And
it, then
it's not anti-money either.
no,
You know,
money is
you
energy
can't,
just like everything.
of course, you can't go to the supermarket. You can't go to the supermarket and say, well, I healed 10 people for free this week. Can I have my groceries for free?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not the way the world works. That's just a sad reality. Or,
Mhm.
I've healed 1,000 people this year. Can I have a free car? It just won't work. I mean, it might. I'm not saying it won't. It might
It's a
work.
fuck yes, Craig. I'm gonna go get me a brand new car.
It might work. You hit the right person
Yeah,
on the right
yeah, you
day.
you certainly don't get a yes without first asking a question.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But and so at the same time, there's just little biohacks. There's
Mm,
things that we can do. So that's where the
love it.
you were mentioning breathing. So breathing is a really important component where we do so much with breathing. There's all sorts of aspects of our bodily function that we don't realize what they're actually doing. So when we go to the toilet, for example, when we we do a poo or we do a wee, then
Mhm,
we're releasing stuff that our body doesn't want anymore.
mhm.
So how easy is it to literally, to the point where we're actually almost out of touch with our own bodies, because a lot of people these days will even sit on the toilet and use their phone. So they're actually distracting themselves from what their own body is doing.
Right.
And yet
Yeah.
at the same time, how you just tune into this, feel into this idea. When you're going to do a pee the next time,
Mhm.
you might sit there and just for a second or two before it say, okay, cool. So I'm releasing all that does not serve my body now.
Oh, I love that.
And so you can actually
Yes.
attach old emotions and old thoughts that you're finished feeling.
Craig, that is
You can
genius.
you can attach the energy of it just to pee. Just a, and I'm just going to release everything that doesn't serve me, all that stress and fear and worry that doesn't even have to exist. Oh, out it goes out of my body.
And another one that I suggest is when you are in exchange of money or anything, say thank you so much. Even maybe not to the cashier. Thank you so much for the abundance. But been I've learned when I'm at the checkout, thank you for the abundance that I have
Mm,
to purchase these groceries or this
yep.
shirt, or because everything is energy. Again, everything is just a different
Mm,
conglomerations of atoms from the periodic table.
yep.
And it's the limiting beliefs around money that so many people have. Certain, money is evil, money doesn't grow on trees. That when you realize that money in exchange, because you're obtaining value, you're exchanging value for value. Both are receiving value in that exchange, and to be thankful and grateful
And it's our
and
perception
say,
of value as well.
I'm sorry, what'd you
It's
say?
our perception of value. It's
Yes.
based on what
Yes.
we personally value. So you might go in and you might buy something and it costs you $20, and for some people that's like, oh, that's so expensive, and for other people like, oh, it was so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
Yes.
It's exactly the
Yes.
same item. It's about how much they value that item.
Yes.
So, for example, a coaching program. My programs aren't $10,000, not by a long shot. But say a coaching program was $10,000. If you had 50 years to live of your life still, what is that worth? It's worth like what, $200 a year? So is a new life really worth $200 a year? Yes or no? Would you rather just stay stuck and save the money? I
Right.
know, I get it. You might have to fork out 10 grand up front. And for some people that don't do coaching or anything, they might know, well, 10 grand, that's crazy. I can tell
Mhm.
you now that for a lot of coaches, that's actually cheap.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I know people that charge well over $200,000 for 12 months of coaching.
Mhm.
And that might sound ridiculous, but if you've got a multi-million-dollar company,
Yep.
hmm, it's all relative. So just coming back to, the breathing. The breathing is another purpose, another function. What is the function of breathing? When we breathe in, we're literally
Mhm.
breathing in energy. So as soon as we change the framework and realize, well, I'm not just breathing, I'm actually breathing in new life. I'm actually breathing myself to life. And what's the function of exhaling? Well, it's removing all the old air, the old gas that I don't need anymore, that I don't want. So as soon as we understand exactly what it is that we're doing, it's all about conscious observation.
Thank you.
It changes the energy. So it's just
Yes.
this. We just breathe in. We can all do it together. Just breathe in through your nose. Hold that breath. And then I'm just going to plant this seed. As you're holding that breath, instead of panicking about when to breathe next, actually focus on the way that your cells feel like they're receiving energy right now. They might be tingling. They might feel more full. And now when you get ready to exhale, just exhale and push out everything that you don't need anymore. And here's the fascinating part. When you get to the bottom, hold your breath. I still haven't breathed in after that exhale. We fear being absent of breath. It's like a lack, but it's actually not lack. It's actually full of potential because now I have space to breathe in. Now I can really feel it rushing in. Releasing. Just releasing, and I dissolve. A great word is dissolve. I'm dissolving all that doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm exhaling it.
Yes. What great tools and visualization that you've provided for my
Really
audience, whether
simple.
you're watching live or on the replay. If you're watching on the replay, put hashtag replay.
It's really simple. It's really simple. Most of us put it this way: if you're not going to the toilet every day, there's something wrong with you. Your diet's wrong, or there's something. Oh yeah, well I only do a number two every 2 or 3 days. Then there is something wrong with your functioning.
Yeah.
In the teaching industry, it's really common to hear teachers at like 3 o'clock when the school day's finished. Oh, finally I can go to the toilet. I've been holding it in all day.
I can't
And
remember what book it
how
was,
many workplaces are like that? But
but
the
they were saying,
workplace, yeah,
yeah,
and the job and the role comes before our natural biological function.
right. I was reading somewhere where it's like, if you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom.
Mm.
Don't, I mean, again, that's a way in which you're treating yourself and talking to
Mhm.
yourself.
And because what comes from that is that I've heard these conversations lots of times. Oh, I don't drink water through the day because then I would have to pee. So cool. Well, what's the function of drinking water? Well, it helps to flush toxins out of our body.
Thank you.
So what you're literally doing is you're choosing to hold on to toxins and concentrate any chemicals, concentrate any toxins that your body does not want anymore. You're accepting that in your field in return for doing your job well, according to other people's perception of how you should be doing these things. You would rather hold on to your toxins and poison yourself than you would actually drink water and be healthy.
Does this make sense, guys? I know it does to the people who are on right now, but if you're watching on the replay and you're new to this type of conversation type of language, does even the basics of breath or defecating or peeing and saying, as you're letting go, pooping in the toilet, I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. Because what you're doing is then you're making room for that which you're supposed to have so that you can do and be in your highest vibration, your highest light, your highest self, living your best life
Mm. Mm.
in a state of joy. That's our purpose, is to be intentional, inspired, and in a, and I know we can't be in a state of joy 100% of the time, but we should at least be on that
Open to the
mission.
possibility of that.
Yes, open to the possibility. Thank you. If anything is possible for anyone, anything is possible for anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So go ahead.
So what I'm going to invite, if you like, I'm just watching the time. I don't know if you have a time length on these things.
You have to teach school.
How
So
long's a piece of string? I'm
I
fine.
know.
I'm
It's been
fine to keep
56 minutes.
going.
We're good. We're good. I have just the gym and dinner.
What I'm feeling called to do is we can do just a tiny little bit of breath work. I'll show you a couple of biohacks as well. Like we'll do a breath work biohack.
Okay.
It's what is a biohack? So we're just accessing our biology, our physiology, and the way we function as a human, as a creature, as a being, in this physical that's not physical, in this energy matrix, in this whatever you want to call it. In our physical bodies, there are rules, there are ways that we function. I drink water, eventually I pee. That's a function. That's a thing. I breathe in, I breathe out. So what I thought we would do is I'll just show you a couple of little things that are quite simple. The first one is a reset breath. It's just called a reset breath. And the general principle is this: we breathe in through your nose, and then you breathe out through your mouth, and you make sure the out breath is longer than the in breath. So that's all. We just do it 3 times.
Okay.
So some people have this perception that breath work has to take half an hour, has to feel intense. You have to feel like a ball of jelly at the end. You have to, see aliens. You have to connect with God. Sure, there are amazing forms of breath work as well. And those people that might not be familiar with it, you can look into things like holotropic breath work. It's a way in which we can actually trigger, if it's done properly, the release of DMT from our own brain.
Yes.
Dimethyltryptamine, which is the spirit molecule, the thing that they believe plants communicate with, that birds can communicate with, that animals can communicate with nature with.
Yeah.
We can as well, but we actually have built-in suppressors as well. We actually produce a DMT inhibitor within our body, just to stop us from actually connecting with that. It's fascinating, but so we'll just do a little reset breath.
Okay.
And I'll talk you through a little bit of some aspects of it as we go as well. So we just get to relax. Literally, this is how fast it gets to be.
Okay.
So we're just breathing in now through your nose, holding that breath a minute, and just exhaling. And if you feel called and if you're safe and you feel like you're welcome to, then just exhale and you can make it audible. Audible is fantastic. It actually puts like a hum, a resonance through your body as well. And breathing in through your nose, holding it. One more. Now just come back to breath normally. Just notice how you feel. You might be feeling a bit softer. This is what I love. There are so few words that we play with that actually explores how we physically feel. I feel softer. I feel more relaxed. I feel like my shoulders have
Tingly.
come down a little bit. Tingly. Yeah, great
Yeah,
words. Yeah. And isn't it interesting? That's all we did was just a reset breath.
yeah.
That exhale, the long exhale, actually calms our central nervous system and the vagus nervous system. If you're not
Yes.
familiar with the vagus nervous system, it's well worth looking up. Really
Yes.
fascinating.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I've got one more biohack for you, if you like. So
Absolutely.
what I'm gonna do is I'm just inviting people to just feel into how they actually feel. Just scan. Imagine like you're passing a scanner over your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
You're just
Okay.
noticing. You're just observing. Nothing has to be fixed. Nothing has to be any different to what it is. Just feel how you feel. Beautiful. So now what I'm going to invite you to do, lots of people know that this is the seat of the third eye, the
Mm-hmm.
access point for your third eye. What a lot of people don't know is that that hollow cave at the back of your head,
Yeah.
where your skull dips down,
Mm-hmm.
that's the seat of the primal brain, the reptilian brain. So this is the point where we can access energy that we store for fight, flight, freeze. And what most people don't realize, fight, flight, freeze was developed in human beings, depending on your religious beliefs. I'm just going to speak how I speak. It was developed in us as human beings at a time when we were still prey items. Something big might eat us, something might squash us. We need to remember where our cave is. We need to remember where water is. We need to remember all this stuff. And if it's not present, our life is at risk. That's when energy gets stored in that zone. We
Mm-hmm.
start to stress. We start to stress and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And with modern society, most people don't realize by eating food that's not even good for you,
Yeah.
your body knows, and you can go into what's called micro-inflammation. It's not an inflammation that you're necessarily aware of, but your body is just unsettled and not at ease. Or we're in traffic, and someone cuts us off. We they cut us off, and it triggers all these reactions. So we're in fight, flight, fear just driving to work.
Fight, flight,
Fight, flight, freeze. And that freeze, I believe, is coming more and more prevalent in our society. The freezing part, like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just got to sit here and hope I blend into the background.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Why do you think it is? Are we allowed to move? If everybody's indoors a lot, if they can't run away, if people don't feel like they have the self permission or the power to fight, some species have just adapted so they freeze. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to blend in. I'm camouflaged. You can't see me, I hope. Like the quiet kids in class. There's freeze. Not all the time. It's for
Right.
some of them. So my point is this, that as modern human beings, we actually start storing energy in this zone a lot, and we don't need to. If I get cut off in traffic, am I really going to die?
Most likely not.
Exactly.
And there's a possibility, but most likely not.
And there's good reasons for actually storing energy there, because it gets pumped in. That energy can get pumped in to the primal brain and trigger fight, flight, freeze even faster if it's already there waiting. Right?
Interesting.
So this is what's fascinating. If we're drinking water and it's got chemicals added to it,
Mm-hmm.
like chlorine,
Mm-hmm.
it's completely safe. We only add it to kill biological things.
We are biology. Everything is biology.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean that our body isn't noticing that there's stuff in this water. Body tenses, body goes into fight, flight, freeze, just a little bit, stores energy. Just going to store this here. Something's a
Mm-hmm.
bit wrong. We might need this soon. If we're eating food-like substances that aren't even food,
Right.
if there's additives to it, if we're
Preservatives,
drinking
coloring.
if we're drinking things that came out of a cow that's designed for a baby cow, if we're eating things that we're not supposed to eat because we weren't designed to eat it, like wheat, then our body can go into inflammation. Oh, yes, I'm gluten
Yeah.
intolerant. Well, it's not actually that you're gluten intolerant. It's that your immune system and your defense mechanisms, the slime coating in your gut, is just not as efficient as other people's slime coating in their gut. They can take the toxins better than you can.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So here's a little biohack. So let's just tune
Okay.
in after we've said all that.
Okay.
This is really, really simple. Just tune in. And the reason why I'm just inviting you to tune in now is so that you can feel the difference in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is just bring your hand up and find that little cave
Mm-hmm. Got it.
and just start tapping it. Just tap it. And you can repeat after me. You don't have to, but it can be interesting too. Some people might be triggering your throat chakra. Am I
Yeah.
allowed to say things? Ready? I choose to release energy
I choose to release energy
stored in this part of my body.
stored in this part of my body.
I don't need energy stored here now.
I don't need energy stored here now.
I choose to do other beautiful things with this energy.
I choose to do other beautiful things with this energy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just relax.
Connected to my unicorns.
But just notice how you feel different in your physicality.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, wow. On a very serious note, though, I'm not being, I am silly. Everybody knows that, but I love this stuff. Yeah.
So one more. I've got one more for you if you like.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're just going to breathe in. It's that
Okay.
simple. We're just going to breathe in, breathing in, holding the breath. Just relax your neck, relax your shoulders. And now just choose, you know what? I'm gathering up all of the things in my body that I don't need to have stored in my body anymore. The things, old ideas, old beliefs, old hurts, old wounds, old stresses. And I'm just going to breathe them out now. And now if you tune in, you might notice that there's a bit of a void there. If you focus, this feels like there's some spaciousness within your body for some reason.
In my gut area.
So now what we get to do, and this is another amazing hack, what do you choose to fill that void with?
Yes.
I choose to fill that void with new energy,
I
new
choose to
possibilities, or I might
energy.
reserve that space for growth, for more beautiful things to come in and occupy. So we just breathe in now. Breathe in. Hold your breath. And feel that new energy now rushing in and filling up that space and occupying it for whatever it is that you feel called to occupy it with. Space, love, magnetic attraction, abundance, or just reserve it for other beautiful things to come into your life. And again, just exhale.
Woo. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you really think about what we've really done like 2 or 3 minutes worth of work, if you want to
Yes.
call it work. I call it play. And there's a
Yes.
really big reason
Yes.
why I call it play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of
And what,
the way the word makes you feel,
yeah,
work.
it's the program.
Words are important. How you speak, what you say is
So just feel
important.
it, and we can do it. You can chest it.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Just tune into your body as I say these things.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
I've got a lot of work to do. This
Heavy.
is going to be hard. I'm not going to enjoy this. And this is the stuff we say to ourselves all the time. We're putting ourselves into a state of density. So let's do the flip side. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of things I get to play with. I'm going to enjoy getting better and better at this stuff. What a fantastic opportunity to grow. Feel the difference It's
Big time.
exactly the same thing. If I say I've got a lot of work to do, as opposed to there's lots of things I get to play with here, it's the same thing. I just completely shifted the vibration of it, though. I took it from a push force, a have to do, and I turned it into an inspiration, something that drew me in. And that's part of the reason. Like, sometimes if we're going to do stuff, like notice at the beginning there I said, do you want to play a game? So if I'm going to be working with clients sometimes and I know that we're going to touch on some stuff that might be a bit raw, a bit dense, might bring up some stuff, I can say, hey, do you want to do some deep, dark work that's really going to bring up the old wounds? We're going to stir it up a little bit. Now, some people might say, yeah, bring it on. Yeah,
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 I'll be like, woo.
yeah. Yeah, but they're the sort of piece of people that also like hurting themselves and like doing things that,
Right.
yeah, it's an extension of the victim mentality.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if I said, hey, do you want to play a game?
Yeah, it's like you just light up like a
Yeah,
kid.
exactly. And this is the thing, right? It comes down to our physiology again and how we work and how our physiology ties in with our subconscious. If we feel threatened, our subconscious hides itself deeper. Our patterns hide deeper. Our wounds hide deeper because we feel like we're under threat.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
If we
Or they'll
feel like, exactly, if we feel expansive, if we feel like we're in a beautiful state, like we're going to play a game, we lighten up. The
yeah,
subconscious doesn't have to fear anything. It just
right.
opens. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's play a game. It's like training a dog, a puppy. If you reward it when it does something good, it'll keep doing the action.
Exactly.
So if we're going to do this exploration work where we want to know how we operate and what's going on, if we actually do this, wow, oh, that's fascinating. I saw that pattern there. Or we go, oh no, I saw that pattern. This is fucked, man. Oh shit. Oh shit. Boom. Down we go. Or we go, oh, thank you. I'm really curious about that. I'd love to know more about that pattern. Thank you for showing me that. Boom. Reward, hormonal hits, all
Mhm.
sorts of secretions of all sorts of juicy stuff. And the subconscious goes, oh, that felt
Oh,
nice. And
yeah.
the body goes, oh, that felt good when I released that really private secret stuff.
And the
If
more
I
you
release
create
more,
those patterns, the
yeah,
more you'll receive or be
yep,
open and receptive, and the more those patterns will show up. You know,
exactly.
uh, neurons that fire together wire together, and the
Exactly.
more you get in the repetitive habit of doing
Yeah,
this type of work,
exactly. Play,
play
work,
work. Oh yeah,
play.
I meant play. This type of play, exactly.
So wouldn't it be fascinating if we all just changed it, like in schools, for example, from homework to home play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine kids would a different mindset about what they're
Mum,
gonna be
Dad, my teacher said that I could play a game
doing.
when I came home this afternoon. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Mum, Dad, my teacher said I have to do homework this afternoon. So just one more thing
Mhm.
to round it all off. When we're in a state of fight, flight, freeze, what most people don't realize is that blood literally comes from our frontal cortex and it gets sent and it comes from our central nervous system, our chakra system, all our energy centers, and it goes to our hands and it goes to our legs and it goes to our primal brain. None of those centers were used to solve problems. It's why when you get really stressed or when you are really, really emotional, if you're really stressed or if you're really emotional, a friend's having a breakdown and then, oh, why is this happening to me? Listen to the language. Why is this happening to me? And you start asking questions. Well, what happened? I don't even know what happened. Well, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. They don't because they're in a state of fight, flight, freeze. The blood has come from the frontal cortex. And this is the point. What's the frontal cortex for? Problem solving. So this is why, if we've got a big decision to make, the more we can relax. Why do you think really good intuitions come to us in the shower?
Something about the flow of water, like, 'cause
We're
water is
relaxed.
yeah.
We're relaxed. And when
Mm,
we're relaxed, or when we enjoy the water, when we enjoy, if we
mhm.
go for a beautiful walk in nature, if we do,
Or
you might
swim.
just stop what you're doing and you'll just go and do something that you love.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed then that intuitions hit you and answers come through and clarity comes through? Because
Clarity, yes.
there's a beautiful blood flow to the frontal cortex of the brain where we solve problems. We are more inclined to then open up and be in connection. Where do you think the third eye is? And the third eye is responsible for seeing possibilities.
Mhm.
So seeing possibilities and problem
Infinite
solving.
possibilities.
Exactly. So if we can release the stress, if we can release the tension, if we can release the I don't know what to do. And it's okay if you're feeling emotional like that. I'm not saying bypass it. What I'm saying is, yeah, allow it to feel, allow you to feel, because there's messages in all of that. All emotions are beautiful, all of them, all of them. Some are easy to sit with, some are desirable, some of them we love, some of them are harder to sit with.
Mhm.
But dense emotions are just showing us that we're out of alignment.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm angry. Why are you angry? Oh, because this thing happened to me and that thing happened to me. Oh, why is that a problem? Well, because I deserve better than that. Oh, cool. Why do you deserve better than that? Well, because I'm worthy. Oh, cool. So your anger is just reminding you that you're worthy. Yes, it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh. I'm sad. Well, why are you sad? Well,
Not all
because I'm not.
anger is bad. It's
Yeah,
there
exactly.
to reveal.
Anger
Sadness
gets a
as
bad
well.
rap. Yeah, anger gets a bad rap because it's often
Yeah.
associated with violence.
Mhm.
Rightly so.
Right. Right.
But it just means that it's an intense energy. It's an intense expression that I am really worth something and I'm not getting what I'm worth. And this is angering me. I deserve more, or people deserve more, or this is not the way life is supposed to be. It's what all of these dense emotions are like. Why are you grieving? Well, because I'm sad. Well, why are you sad? Because I love that person.
Mhm.
Why is that a thing? Well, because life is supposed to be about love and it's not present, so I feel sad. And the sadness is pointing me back towards love.
Wow, that's very
All emotions are beautiful.
circle. Yeah, way
Yeah,
to understand
yeah,
how our emotions work, even the ones that we don't
yeah,
enjoy feeling.
yeah. And lots of emotions are acts of self love.
Mhm.
Lots of them, lots of actions. We talk about, say, you might want to lose weight. This is a great example that I love. You might want to lose weight, so I go to the gym. Well, why? Well, because, I deserve a body that I'm happy with. Wow, I feel exhausted after the gym. Oh, chocolate cake, yum. Chocolate cake is an act of self love. Why? Because you're trying to actually appease your body. It's delicious food. You're exhausted. Here, rest. You're stressed out. You're worried. Here, have some chocolate cake. It's an act of self love. And as soon as we realize that both of these things are both self love, going to the gym and working hard and chocolate
Mhm.
cake,
Mhm.
oh, they're both actually just showing me that I'm worthy of love. Then wouldn't it be interesting if we could just have a small piece of chocolate cake? We don't have to have lots because we're not in stress. And we get
Exactly.
to love the gym as well. Oh, I love the gym. I love going to
Exactly.
the gym and feeling good. But I
Mhm.
love some luxuries. I love just, my taste bud. Oh, that was delicious. It's when we're absent of feeling good that we actually reach for things to distract ourselves.
Right. Right.
Addictions,
Mhm.
gym, sex. I know people. I've seen people that'll go to the gym for
Alcohol.
5 and 6 hours a day if you let them.
Wow.
Gym, sex, alcohol, substances,
Mhm.
social media, TV, lots of them.
Yeah. I mean, even social media. I mean, I even find myself I mean, I love feeling good, and
Mhm.
My newsfeed personally is filled with a lot of fabulousness, a lot of either "oh" or "laugh my ass off" or something really inspiring,
Exactly.
and that's what I share,
But
and
it's
so
also an extension of you.
right, but then I hear often people, "Oh, I can't stand Facebook, all the drama. I
Uh-huh.
can't," and well, who like, not that I don't have friends that aren't drama, I'm just saying that what I choose to interact with and like I heart
Yeah.
like everything. You do
Mm.
too. I'm a big heart person. I love to heart stuff.
And
Yeah,
the point is that it's all just an extension of who we are. And that's it. Life is
it
either
makes me
happening
feel
to
good.
us,
Mhm.
life is either happening to us or it's happening for us.
Through us. Yes, through us and for us.
Yeah.
Abso-frickin-lutely.
And the difference is that if it's happening to us, then we just gave our power away. If I blame,
Mhm.
well, that person did this thing, or these people, all this drama on
Yes.
Facebook these people are putting in here.
Yes.
If we stop
Yes.
interacting with it, if we stop watching the drama,
Mhm.
like I don't know about you, but some of this stuff that pops up from time to time on my videos, and I just try to get out of it as soon as possible. All these people recreating these little dramatizations about extreme situations in life, like she cheated on me and she doesn't even know, and she thinks I'm giving her a present. So we're just like people start circling like vultures. Oh, let's watch this train wreck.
I can't stand that. Like, I call that
Yeah,
Jerry
so I just
Springer type bullshit.
yeah, so
Like,
just let it go.
yeah, like
And
people are addicted to that. It's just it's like mindless and
mm,
it's
it makes them feel better about their
heartless.
life. That
Yeah,
person's life
yeah,
is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Let's laugh at them because then no one's laughing at me.
yeah, yeah,
And yet at the same time, then, if we're getting all this drama in our feed, then where is the drama in my life?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who he doesn't have a lot of drama particular in his life, but he surrounds himself
Mm,
with people that are just that they are not train wrecks. Nobody is a train wreck, but what they choose to do creates a train wreck consistently in their life. And
mm,
this guy is just like like he turns this way like he's in a rotating chair. There's drama. This person's having drama. This person, and I've known this guy forever. But
mhm,
it's hilarious because I pick on him. I make fun of him about it. And I'm like, not make fun like in a bad way, but I tease him. I love him to death. But it's like, dude, you could be choosing, but again, there's something that he gets from being there to save these
mhm,
people that are constantly
mm,
in nightmare situations.
yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of reasons for it, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's an
Everybody has their
it's an aspects of our human development. Um, it's something that you learn in NLP studies, neuro linguistic programming, where we're developing. So I might as well share it here.
yeah, please do. I was about to tell you, tell what NLP is, Neural Linguistic Programming.
Neuro, it's
Neuro.
neuro, so brain,
Mhm.
linguistic, words,
Mhm.
programming. So it's how the words that we hear, how people are spoken about, how we hear things referenced, programs our mind with beliefs and
Mhm.
values.
Mhm.
So from the age of 0, and in the metaphysical work that I do, I understand that there's a lot of people that know things that have occurred well before 0. I've worked with people that remember their act of conception. They actually remember it. So
Wow.
it's all sorts of things are possible.
Yes.
But in general terms, from 0 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, usually 7 or 8, we call that the imprint phase.
Mhm.
And to summarize it really heavily, really, you just get to the crux of it. From 0, okay, it's my mirrors. This is mirrored, so it's a bit weird. That's right.
Mhm.
From 0 to 7 or 8, we get to the end of 7 or 8, and this has come from a time when, again, we were like prey items. The odds of us surviving to be 7 or 8 were low. So when we got to that age, we were sort of programmed instinctually, subconsciously to celebrate. So, yes, we did it. We made it. It's like a milestone. So
Mhm.
cool. How do we actually survive from now on? Well, let's get it right. Now, all this stuff kept us alive for 7 years. So all we need to do to stay alive even longer is just repeat this 7 years again. We've set up a familiar zone.
Mhm.
we've set up a level that our subconscious keeps attempting to bring us back to wherever possible. It is a new homeostasis. It's the normal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it gets a bit sad at times. The subconscious does not care if it was good or bad,
Exactly.
ugly or horrific. It just thinks whatever you went through from birth to 7 or 8, sometimes 9 and 10, sometimes as early as 6, whatever you went through in that phase kept you alive. We just repeat this familiar pattern and you will stay alive.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
Now, lots of adults don't think that that's true. Yeah, but, my life now is like this and this. It's the same. It's the same pattern. The only thing is that when you were 3, you just wanted a Band-Aid on your knee, or you just wanted a hug from mum. Just the Band-Aid now, when you're 30 or 40 or 50, might look like selling a house, and it's a lot more complicated. We think it's more complicated, but it's the same
Right.
pattern. It's the same energy. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. But along that time frame as well, we also develop roles. It might be, get us a beer from the fridge, love. Oh, here, Daddy, here's a beer. I didn't drop it. I didn't smash it. Yeah, good on you, love. Oh, when I brought Daddy a beer, he gave me some love. All I've got to do is keep bringing Daddy's beer, so we become carers. Or
Caregivers, yeah.
my little sister's being picked on, and I step in, stop picking on my little sister.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. My little sister gave me love when I defended her. So all I need to do to get all this external love is just care for people and protect them. So we become a protector. I'm not getting what I want. Oh, wait, but when I walked in and I bullied that person, I got what I wanted.
Yep.
I'm not getting what I want, and that person just bullied me. Oh, that's so sad. Here, let me give you lots of love for being a victim. We develop a role. And here's the thing, they all need each other. What does a narcissist need to be a narcissist? They need a victim. What does a victim, get this, what does a victim need to be a victim? They need a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
What does a hero need? A hero needs a damsel in distress. What does a carer need? Someone that needs caring for.
Have you read The Celestine Prophecy?
Yeah,
Love that book.
yeah, yeah. And that's it. So this is what we do. We go about our life. We've set up a familiar zone of what's acceptable and what's not and what we need to survive. It's not actually true. It's just what we perceive to be true based on what we experienced. All right, well, I need people to bash me up. I need there to be no love for me. I need to work really hard and I need to be in the victim mindset and I need to constantly work for other people. Then I feel okay and I'm in the familiar zone. And whenever we try and break out of it, the subconscious kicks in and actually pushes away everything that's not this.
So then what we have to do is reframe or reprogram the subconscious mind
Yes,
so
that's
that
what
we're
we
not
get to do.
recreating those thank you. That's what we get to do. So we're not creating those same patterns and creating
If we're not happy with those patterns, because it's none of my
it
fucking
right.
business. It is none of my business. Someone might be in a horrible situation and they are
Mm,
content. Who am I to judge? It's none of my business
absolutely, yeah.
how they choose to live, except if it affects me. But then that's just about, well, I've manifested into my world. What am I doing? Do I choose that in my world? Do I want that in my world?
Mhm.
How do I want things to be different? If I want things to be different, how can I start to explore these things, even if it's just in a little way?
And you
How can
start
I
to realize the power that you have, the
can
power
I
that we
take a breath?
have.
Is it
Yeah.
okay for me to take a breath right now? Is it okay for while I'm sitting there just having my morning coffee, if I just start to do some deep reset breaths, just in between my sips of coffee? And you know what? I'm not going to pick up my phone while I'm having my coffee. I'm just going to actually sit here and breathe instead. How do I feel different? Ooh, I feel lighter. I feel more connected. Beautiful. Wouldn't it be amazing if my whole day was like this and I just felt like this all day?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be amazing if I actually put myself in the future and I pretend and I start to be grateful for these things having happened all day? So it's things like, okay, cool. You know what? Today was an amazing day.
Mhm.
It was an amazing day. Kid, I had all these beautiful interactions with people. I ate delicious, nurturing food. I got some exercise. I moved my body. I got a few hugs and cuddles, and I was able to give a few hugs and cuddles. I got into some sunshine. I
I had
felt
an
free.
empowered conversation.
I had an empowered conversation. And the point is that we can be having this conversation with ourselves in a journal or just out loud or just in our mind at 6 a.m.
Mhm.
We're thanking ourselves for having the day that's coming to us. What do you think
Absolutely.
we start to pull in? Alternatively, we get out of bed, oh shit, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. What I speak, I create.
I
I'm
am.
exhausted. This is going to be an awful day. Shit always happens in threes. We say
Mhm.
all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
We say all this stuff and it brings it in. It brings it in, it manifests it.
Siobhan was just talking about this last week on food therapy. Exactly what
Mm,
you were talking about specifically starting your day intentional.
mm.
Whether it's
And here's,
writing what you're grateful for, what you're excited about, just being thankful for your bed.
yeah, you would know the work of Dr. Emoto, maybe? You might
E-
not
uh,
know his name. Emoto.
Morio Emoto, he with the water and the
Hmm.
yes, oh
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
oh yeah,
And the way that he just subjected water to
yes,
experiments of different vibrational emotions, anger, love, and when you
you make
froze
me
the water
sick.
droplets,
Hmm.
yeah, then it literally crystallized in completely different forms.
You've
The
seen what
beautiful
the bleach
positive
we know,
emotions,
right?
yeah, the beautiful
Yeah.
positive emotions. So here's the thing, right? We are 70% water,
Hmm.
and you being a beautiful foodie, when we actually pray, not that I'm a praying, I use different words,
I do as
but
well.
but before we eat our food, if we were to just sit there, say, you know
Mm.
what, this food is delicious. This food is going to nourish my body. I'm really looking forward to this. This food really makes me happy. I love this food. We're literally programming that vibration into the food, which then we're literally feeding ourselves whatever we speak.
Yes.
If we're sitting there over our water or over our coffee or over our alcohol and we're saying, that was a shit day, my life is shit, my life is awful, these
Yeah.
people are all blah, 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 blah. We're programming the food and the substances and the liquids we're about to drink. We're literally feeding exactly what we don't want,
Exactly.
unless that is what we want.
And exactly, but the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't. Either way, you're
You're right.
right. And what it's your life is a mirror reflection
Exactly.
of what you're
Thinking and feeling.
thinking, feeling,
And
speaking, saying.
and
Yeah,
this can be really triggering for some people because they're manifesting some big shit that they don't like.
but it's so and it's okay. But realize the power you have
Hmm,
over just switching your intentions and
exactly.
and making the concerted effort to be
Being open to
intentional.
the lessons. Being
Yes.
open to the lessons. Cool. Oh, wow. This is fascinating. This is really big. How is this happening for me? How have I manifest this?
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Even through the horrible.
Hmm. How is this happening for me?
Mhm.
Am I ready to see the lesson yet? Yes or no? No. Cool. Okay. Keep feeling. That's okay. Am I ready to see the lesson in this yet? Yeah. You know what? I've had enough. Yep. I'm ready. I'm open to
Mm.
lesson now. I'm open to the part that I'm playing in this, and I'm open to how I'm pulling this into my world.
Cold chills.
Hmm.
Cold chills.
Hmm. It shifts your whole life. And I know that this is really confronting for some people because
Yeah.
they're in tough situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Their three-dimensional world is not easy at all.
Yeah.
Little bit by little bit. Or
Craig, this,
or
yeah, go
or
ahead.
all
No,
at
go, no.
once.
Yeah,
Or all at
exactly.
once.
I'm telling you, this has been another incredible and empowered
Hmm.
conversation. We're at over an hour and 34 minutes. This is the longest thus far. This is the last three that have gone over an hour. I
Hmm.
love it. I love it.
It's one of the measures of inspiration.
Yes,
When we're in spirit, it folds space and time.
exactly.
Time time just melts. You might be
Hmm.
like, my butt's a little bit numb and all those sorts of things, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we keep talking,
And
and that's
yeah,
the
and we
point.
could talk for hours.
Mm.
But I
That's
know
when
you've
you
got
know.
kids to teach. What'd you say?
That's when you know you're in spirit. That's when
Right,
you know you're inspired.
right.
When you can do the same thing and you could just, even when you're exhausted, you could still do it, and it's easy, relatively speaking. But
Hmm.
yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Steph, for having me on.
Oh my gosh, Craig, you are so welcome. Thank you for coming on. Guys, thank you so much for all those who have been on live and been commenting. Siobhan is saying, thank you, Craig. Tanya Horn up above said, thank you. Someone said they felt grounded. That was a Facebook user. I can't see the name. But Tanya Horn said, thank you. This has been wonderful with a heart. I think you can see the comments. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining Empowered Conversations this week. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Remember, tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Siobhan and I will be doing another episode of Food Therapy. It is International Mental Awareness Month. And so we're going to be talking about all things mental awareness, just mindset, emotional intelligence, and as well, Siobhan's going to be sharing, the three mistakes people make when trying to get happy. And we're going to be making, oh gosh, eggplant parmesan. So super excited about that. Again, thank you, Craig. Um,
Most welcome.
this has been wonderful. So just hold on just a second. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. And till next week on Empower Conversations, everyone have a wonderful and fabulous rest of your week. Bye, guys.